What's going on, YouTube? This is the SG1 Sports SEC football channel. We're going to be breaking down all of the recruiting classes for every single SEC team. We've already done Texas A&M here, and we did Georgia and Alabama over on the main channel, but LSU is up next. I think I told someone that Florida was next. I didn't realize LSU was. I was for some reason thinking Florida was ahead of LSU, but we're going in order of where these teams ranked in the recruiting rankings, and LSU is next. So Florida will be tomorrow. It does seem like we have a lot of Florida fans, so I apologize for that. Florida will be tomorrow. LSU is today, and we're going to be doing a new video every single day here on this channel. So for LSU, what do they need out of this recruiting class? I thought they needed an impact running back to add some depth there, and maybe an impact cornerback to add some depth there with Greedy Williams gone. Maybe get the next guy, the next star at cornerback. Other than that, it's just add depth at all the positions, and they didn't really have any immediate needs. So let's see if they filled their needs, and I'll kind of give you a grade on how good I thought this class was for what they needed at LSU. All right, so let's start by looking at the players that have already enrolled at LSU, and you see Derek Stingley, the cornerback, 5-star, one of the top players in the country. They get their first guy that they really needed. So they get an impact cornerback that can come in and help them right away. They also add a 4-star defensive tackle, a 3-star center, and a 3-star tight end. That's one of the only negatives for this recruiting class, is that they only had 4 guys that enrolled early. So you would have liked to have seen more for that. But still, most of these guys are not going to see the field as freshmen. You look at the next group of players. John Emery Jr., a 5-star running back, one of the top running backs in the country. So they added that. Just talked about it at the beginning. They needed an impact running back, an impact cornerback. They got both. Great job here by LSU. They also add a 5-star outside linebacker, another guy that might can contribute right away. 4-star offensive guard, 4-star receiver, and another cornerback that's a 4-star. You see some great players here in this recruiting class. They add a 4-star running back, another guy that could see the field. So even though I said a lot of these guys won't play right away, they have the talent to do it. And if they need them, they will, I think, have guys that can step in and play right away. A 4-star offensive tackle, a 4-star inside linebacker. They will need to replace Devin White, so perhaps he will be the guy there. A 4-star athlete, a 4-star offensive guard. As you can see, this is just a great recruiting class. They add Peter Parrish, a dual threat quarterback, a 4-star athlete who also may be a quarterback for them, a 3-star offensive tackle, a 3-star cornerback, and a 3-star inside linebacker. But again, they just loaded up pretty much everywhere. They didn't have a whole lot of needs, but they took care of business at cornerback and at running back. And just this is just a great recruiting class. So now let's see, we got 6 more guys I think in this class. A 3-star cornerback, a 3-star defensive tackle, 2 3-star defensive ends, a kicker, and a 2-star long snapper. They, yes, did get a long snapper. First one of those we have seen so far. But yeah, you know, the 3 stars can sometimes be better than the 5 stars. We all know that. But all we have to evaluate these players is what the recruiting services provide for us. I don't have time to go and watch all these high school games. I mean, it's impossible to do. But anyways, let's see how it breaks down by position. They added 2 quarterbacks. One of them is listed as an athlete. Neither one of them is going to see the field right away. They'll probably both redshirt. Joe Burrow, I think, is going to control this team in 2019. They added 2 running backs that add a lot of depth. You look at what they had. I don't know if they had a 4-star running back that, based off of recruiting rankings, even on the roster. I believe 2 of their 3 guys that played some last year were 3 stars. I'm not sure about all of them, but we're talking about major talent coming in here. I mean, major talent. Freshmen that can, both of them, I think, will be able to step up and play right away. A couple of 4-star receivers. Again, I don't expect them to really play much, but it'll add depth for the future. Add a 3-star tight end. They added some guys on the offensive line, actually 5 offensive linemen, so they added depth there. So offensively, I think the 2 running backs will play this season, at least one of them, and that would be John Emery Jr., of course. And everyone else is probably just going to, you know, not play much because, like I said, they didn't need much at all on offense. Didn't really need much at all defense either. Didn't need a whole lot. But, yeah, offensively, the two running backs, they got those guys that can come in, play right away. Maybe the two most talented running backs on the roster. We'll see how that goes. But I think they just did an A-plus job adding depth at every position here on offense, adding some impact players at the running back position. I mean, you really can't – there's nothing negative to say about this recruiting class on the offensive side. I mean, they just did exactly what they needed to do. So we're going to give them an A-plus on offense, again, with some impact players coming in at running back and plenty of depth, plenty of talent to add to this roster for the future. So now let's flip over and look at the defensive side of the ball. And again, you look down this roster at who they lost from last season, and yes, they lost some impact players, Devin White, Greedy Williams, but depth-wise, they still have plenty of talent on this side of the ball. So let's break it down by position, starting at defensive end. They only added a couple of 3-stars there, so they didn't get a whole lot of depth for the future. But again, 3-stars sometimes can play better than 5-stars, so you never know what you're going to get. They also add a couple of defensive tackles, a 4-star and a 3-star. So they didn't get any major impact players on the defensive line, but still added some depth, added some guys there. And once again, you never know what you're going to get. Some of these players may turn into stars in the future, but based off of the recruiting rankings from 24/7 Sports, which is where all of these rankings are coming from, it wasn't a great defensive line class, but still they didn't need anything right away, so I have no problems with that. You look at linebacker, they added a 4-star and a 3-star inside linebacker, also adding a 5-star outside linebacker. So they added some key guys, some talented guys at linebacker. Of course, trying to replace Devin White is going to be very tough for this team, but they had plenty of talent already on the roster. I think they have guys that will rotate up. I mean, they're going to be fine in the immediate future, and they also add some guys for the long-term future as well at that position. Cornerback, that seems to be, I mean, LSU's just had maybe the best cornerbacks. If you look at the past 10 years or so of college football, every year they've got another guy. It's really is DBU in my opinion. Greedy Williams is gone. What do? They replace him with another 5-star recruit. They also added 2 other guys, a 4-star, a couple of 3-stars. So the depth at the cornerback position is just unreal for this team. They had talent already on the roster. Remember last year in the bowl game, they have like 7 guys in the secondary that were out. They either got injured or suspended or were sitting out or whatever the case was. And they still had guys step up and play, and they did a great job in that game. So we don't worry at all about them at this position. But it is a little interesting, a little concerning that they didn't add any safeties. And perhaps 1 or 2 of these corners will play safety. When you talk about defensive backs, a lot of times they will transition from one position to another once they get to college. So I don't know for sure what the case will be with that. But it is, again, interesting that they did not add any safeties in this recruiting class. They also added a 3-star kicker, and like we mentioned earlier, they did add a long snapper, and we didn't list him on here. And a couple of these guys were listed as athletes, but are projected as a dual threat quarterback and receiver. Missed that. I don't think I mentioned that over on the offensive side. But again, you look at this defensive class, I'm going to give them an A-, only because they didn't get a safety and they didn't get, they didn't get a whole lot of impact on the defensive line. And again, I could be wrong. These recruiting services are always wrong all the time, and maybe they did get some impact players there. But an A- is still a great rating, so we'll give them an A overall based off of filling their needs. Now, if you just look at the talent in this class, sure, it's an A+. Every team in the top 10 is an A+. But filling their needs, we're just going to give them an A, just because I think they could have done a little better at safety, or they could have got 1 safety at least, and maybe done a little bit better on the defensive line. And also, they could have got some more guys to enroll early. That could potentially be a factor for them. Probably not. Either way, LSU is going to be a very, very good football team this year. We actually have them number 3 in our SEC Power Rankings. If you're not subscribed to the main SG1 Sports channel, make sure you do that. We did our SEC Power Rankings earlier today if you want to check that out. But LSU, I think, is in great shape, both in 2019 and in the future. They continue to recruit at a top 10 level. and this program is going to be one of the elite programs for a long time to come. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Thank you for watching this video, and stay tuned for more here on the SG1 Sports YouTube channel.